Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Unblocking Success podcast with myself, John Pearce, the head of commercial for London Drainage Facilities. This is, of course, a London Drainage Facilities production. Today, I'm incredibly pleased and proud to be joined by Mihai Lamba, who's the head of estate management for BPM. Enjoy. We'll kick straight off into it, Mihai, right? And we'll just kick it off from here. So thank you for taking the time, for coming down and seeing us today. And thank you. You've set the bar really high for bringing gifts. The cannolis have gone down a treat. So, yeah, thank you once again for joining me today.
You're welcome. That's a little trick I have.
Yeah, well, listen, it's a brilliant trick. And when we do part two, you'll certainly have to bring more down, right? So, look, to kick things off, let's just take it right to the beginning. Yeah. Let's start with your journey, how you kind of got into the industry, and we'll take it from there.
So we had a little chat earlier, right? I mean, I'm not one of those which would say I fell into estate management or property management and so on. I think I have not realized that I'm doing it since I was like very, very young, or at least I'm building up my knowledge over there. Like I said, my dad being in the plumbing industry, I've seen a lot of pipes. I was playing with them in the house and so on. You know, he worked for some large organizations there, been in the States, in the Caribbean, quite a lot back home. So originally I'm from Bucharest, Romania. And yeah, I've just been around plant rooms, you know, drainage, plumbing, you name it, you know, up to when I went to university, I've seen a lot of that. And then somehow, my dad was quite close to me, still is, and he was saying, no, you can't follow this route, you can't be following me, right? I was like, okay, what should I do? And then I aimed towards hospitality. I like that. I was like, yeah, it's going to be great. I'm going to travel a lot and so on. No, guess what? I ended up in a casino. Right. So I was a receptionist in a casino, which was the best job ever that I had. Right. 18 years old in a casino, live casino. Yeah.
Seeing everything, complete exposure.
Yeah, you don't want all the stories from there or off the record. Then went into hospitality, hotels. Yeah. Been a duty manager over there. And then I ended up working for Marriott here in Canary Wharf. Yep. Great hotel. I have a lot of respect for Marriott. They do look after their employees. I've learned a lot, and I'm using a lot today from the culture that they had over there. Okay. So their motto was, you look after your employees, they will look after your client.
And it's completely the correct.
That's true. Yeah. That's how it works, right? And it was such a fast-paced, you know, environment, always sitting, always running up, you know, up and down. And then at some point I was like, nah, I can't do this forever. I need to look at something better. Obviously financially, you know, workload. I have a family, so I have two amazing daughters, a great partner that supports me, and I was like, I need to offer them a little bit more time over there. So I moved to property management. Moved to a huge site in Canada Water called Maple Keys. Okay. First Port managed initially. I have a lot of respect for First Port. Thank you very much for having me for my first. I think it was a year there. Yep. Did a year with them. It was a lot slower, the environment, to what I was used with, right? And even though this is what I wanted, I was not comfortable. Yep. I was like, I need to do something. So, you know, I started to be a little bit disruptive in the team. Right. Because I was not just relaxed, you know, I wanted to do things. Go. Yes, I was out of the desk, the office. I was trying to find ways to automate things. You know, when I went there, we had 200 parcels arriving a day, right, in the office, deliveries. And this is 2014. Right, the level today is a lot higher in that. Back then, it was just the beginning of the Amazon, and you know, it was eBay at the top. And then you were receiving those. That's actually a funny story. You were receiving all those ones. You were writing notes, like some slips like that, and then you had to go to all those 1,000 apartments, you know, 10, 12 blocks, something like that, and just drop slips into their post boxes. Oh wow! You know, make them aware that they received the parcel.
Received it. Yeah.
Imagine the workload. Yeah. So no, first thing I did in the first couple of months, I just automated that system. So we did an email type of system. We collected all that data from the residents, and then we're just doing it from the office, and that worked pretty well. So I never stopped at trying and improving things over there. And then my journey went to Knight Frank, which most of the people would know them from the commercial business that they have, but they also they might still have a small one there, had the property management side of the business as well. And then I ended up in City of London, an amazing development, really high end. Did that for, I need to remember now, maybe 6 years, 7 years. Been there, ended up estate manager. Knight Frank also gave me a lot of opportunities. They even asked me to be on advisory board at some point for them, so going to the head office quite a lot. Then again, a little bit of the disruptive guy, trying to find ways of doing things better and so on. I was not just staying on site. I was going to other sites.
Right.
I was going to other estate managers, and I was like, hey, how are you doing?
Oh, to see how they were doing what they were doing.
Exactly. How are you doing things here? What's good? What's bad? Let me take whatever I could find from there.
Clever move, yeah.
Yeah, let me take that to my place of work and so on. But then, again, it was just one site, or maybe a little bit of extension to others. So you couldn't see the word technically in my head.
Yeah.
And then I moved to Mayfair.
Yep.
Burlington Estates. Did that for a while as head of estates. So I was managing property managers, estates managers. Did that only, to be honest, for 1 year, because then we had, for me, an interesting situation, because Firstport came and bought that business.
Yep.
So in a way, I ended up again with Firstport.
With Firstport again.
With Firstport, a massive company over there. But then I was used with a high level of service, call it like this, or with a different autonomy.
Yep.
The Mayfair environment.
Yeah. That high-end clientele, effectively. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just what I wanted to do over there.
Mm-hmm.
So my previous, the director of Burlington, he left just before me when the news came. He set up BPM, which stands for Bespoke Property Management, exactly what we want to do over there. And I've joined later last year after some time.
Yep.
And here I am. I'm head of estate management for BPM.
And here you are now, right? So that's a whirlwind tour.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of experience you're picking up along the way with some really strong brands. Firstport, Knight Frank. Yeah, really big brands that you're working with. What kind of challenges did you face early on by dealing with some of those brands?
You see, I've seen both sides of the story over there.
Yeah.
So I've seen the high-end service that you have to provide in Mayfair, or for most of the properties that you manage around that area. The clients are different. It's all about the client at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
And then you also have that volume, that you could have in large organizations, where you could have 1,000 residents on your estate. And the question is, how do you balance that out? How do you give them the service, but also you are efficient when you have 1,000 units? You might not have enough staff on site to deal with.
Yep.
Obviously, everyone thinks about cost these days, so they're trying to keep costs low.
Yep.
So they will try, to keep us less people on site as possible.
Yep.
And for me, I think that was definitely something I wanted to do. Keep the volume low, provide the best service over there, have some time for my own as well, because I need learning and development. If you are at full pace every single day, then you can't achieve that. And for me, it's very important that when anyone comes next to me, I can transfer that information to him and, bring him up as well to the same level maybe that I have, or even better. I don't mind.
Yeah. Do you think that the big companies are able to provide dedicated service to not only their residents, right? When you're dealing with such a vast numbers of estates and end users, as well as the property managers and the teams along the way? Or do you find that you get better levels when you go smaller and you go down the route of a more concentrated SME, smaller type approach?
I always compare the organization and the businesses in my head with ships or boats, right? We talk about water here as well and being fluid. Right? A big ship will always go forward no matter what, right? Very hard to steer as well. If a challenge, if you have an iceberg in front of you, very hard to steer around it. But at the same time, you can go through it, just smash it and go through it. Yeah, you might lose some people down the line. You might create some damages in that boat, but you will still drive. Then with a smaller boat, such a smaller company, private and so on, you can steer a lot quicker and you can be flexible.
More nimble, right?
You can be flexible. That means you're not losing any people. There's no reputational damage, perhaps, when something happens. And then you still drive. You see? So it depends what you want to do. And this goes back to a large organization. I think it's very difficult to control from the top of the pyramid all the way down.
Trying to get that message filtered through.
It's very, very difficult. You need so many processes. People don't like processes in general. I'm a person that creates how-to guides, SOPs, and so on. They work up to a certain level because, once you're not in contact with the person which needs to do that, how can you ensure that he's he's up for keeping in line with that procedure. In a small company, we are in the office every single day. We see each other, and our company will grow for sure, or the company that I work for will grow, but then we will keep the same values over there. We will be in the office. You see, we need to be from the top of the pyramid all the way to here. We need to have a clear communication. And then if they need to come up and speak with the director, then it shouldn't be a problem.
And I think for me, looking through some of my career, I resonate completely with what you're suggesting there. You can work for, and I use an analogy very similar to you. I say oil tankers, right? Oil tankers out at sea, they're very, very hard to try and move and pivot. But when you're a small, nimble outfit that's very entrepreneurial spirited, it's so much easier to be able to make those quick decisions. And that, for me, when you're in a business that's anything under 150 people, you can really keep a good handle on it. You can you can roll out decisions and thoughts, and you can have that open communication and dialogue the whole way through. When you start going way beyond that number, everything starts getting diluted, and then the end user loses that experience.
But at the end of the day, we need both sides of the stories there. We need the large cruise ships, whatever, oil tankers, and we need the small boats as well. Now, it only depends where you want to be. Right? Maybe you're at early days in your career, and it's easier for you to move to a large organization, right? They will accept you probably easier. They have apprenticeships, and so on. All the respect for them. But then again, if you're a client, you need to have different options over there. And this is where we fit in. You see, we can provide that tailored service, that bespoke service, how we want to sell ourselves. And that proved last year. We won. We're an award-winning company at the Property Management Awards.
It's a great achievement. Congratulations to you and your team.
Thank you very much. Commended as well for 2 of the other awards, which is sustainability. Very, very important for us. And also mixed use management company of the year. And then we won the boutique property management of the year. So we're going strong. We have another event on the 7th of May. It's called Resi Awards, and we've been nominated for the property manager of the year. So you're going in a fantastic trajectory. That's and you've got, as you say, a huge talent pool within your organisation that's clearly going to make a massive impact and a massive difference to residents and to your end users. By being that small outfit with a vast depth of knowledge and experience, you're able to give, as the label suggests, a bespoke property management service, which clearly is what is wanted within the inner London region, right? It works. We're in Mayfair. So it works when we listen to our clients and we get the feedback on board. And we see what they're missing these days. So talk to me about some milestones, some parts of achievements that you've had along the way, because you've got
some big brands underneath your belt now, and you've got some really good titles that you've been able to pick up along the way within your career. What have been some of the standout moments for you up until now?
I mean, here you can talk about two options. You can go professional and personal, right?
Yep.
From a professional perspective, I think it's very important when you obtain a new certificate, a new diploma, you take a new training. That will obviously make you more knowledgeable about that subject. But then also will offer you potential recognition in the industry as well. That will help out the business or will help yourself as well to grow in the industry. So for me, key milestones were, for example, when I took my NIBOR certificate, for example, health and safety. And I stress about health and safety every single day. Facilities and health and safety, actually, there are two topics that are, top of my priorities. Property management comes as well alongside it. But then you will see me at all the, fire safety events, health and safety events. A great achievement I had and something that I will never forget. So I've been an advisory on the advisory board for Anticipate London.
We were there this year.
Here you go.
Last year now.
Here you go. So I've been working with the organizer for 12 months, I think, and with a lot of others on that board. And then I was a speaker on the second day at the event on the facilities show stage over there, which was amazing. And you put me on a spot. You put me on a spot. And then I've also on a panel of discussions about AI. Another topic that
we'll definitely jump into that as well. It's a massive topic, that in itself, AI.
It's a massive topic. I've done a lot of research about it. I'm fortunate enough to know a couple of people which are actually very, very knowledgeable worldwide, and people, they have a name. I won't mention, but they have a name out there. And whenever they talk, I'm like, oh, what's this? So I'm like trying to pick from them, because you can't be technical about AI unless you work in AI, right? And then when you are, I've been attending an event the other day. It was just about AI, and all of them so technical, and I was like, oh, it's not the right place for me to be. But then again, if you pick up some stuff from there, you build up your knowledge.
So let's talk a little bit about AI, right? And how we see that potentially changing the trajectory of property management. Is it something to be scared of, or is it just because it's new and it's changed and it's adapting? How do you see it impacting?
I think AI has been there for a while now. People were not aware of it. You see, we had sensors, we had, automations for a while in the industry, but also in other industries as well. Now we know more about AI because it's made largely, free to people in public. And everyone talks about it. It's like another boom over there, which is going to completely change our day-to-day operations. It is there no matter if we accept it or not. It will come. They'll be like the phones, right? Like the mobiles. I think it's going to be. I'm all positive about it, with one comment at the end. So it's all about efficiency out there. If you can use AI, so you can become more efficient take it as a building, right? Great. Also as a business, as an organization, if you use AI to become more efficient, then that means, again, you can create a better level of service for your clients. We talked about large organizations. For them would be such a fantastic tool to have it. Because they are large organizations. If they use AI, they can technically become smaller. They can streamline some operations as well. And then that means they can control their business a little bit better or manage it. But then again, it's hard to implement that in a large organization. In a small one like ours, we've accepted AI since day one. We've heard about it, right? How do we do it? How can we use it here? So we have some systems over there that we operate on AI already. A little bit of customer service, a little bit of automation on our buildings. We have a project right now which we're going to implement on Oxford Street. Very busy. Not so secure, let's say, the area in general. And then we have AI that is going technically to monitor 24/7 all of the CCTV cameras.
Right.
So they're going to monitor the CCTV network.
Right.
They're going to prompt us if there's any loitering, any security breaches. Maybe, you can even listen and tell you if someone uses some certain words, which could be a little bit, triggering some alarms over there.
Yep.
And then instead of having a CCTV operator watching 70 cameras, right, at the same time, you can have an AI system that will technically prompt you immediately if something happens.
It just allows a business and an operation to streamline and become efficient, right?
We talk about preventive maintenance, but it's also about predictable maintenance over there as well, and AI can help you with that.
Yep.
A simple example you can have, or we have already in every single probably new lift that we use these days, they do use sensors that will tell you if the lift it's about to go out of service or not. So before that happens, it can let you know, and that means the operator or the lift engineering company can come on site before the lift will go out of service, because it will monitor certain vibrations, noises, and so on. You do have your monthly visits probably on the lift, but what happens between those 30 days? Or some lifts can be every 3 months
of course,
being serviced. So like you said, it's about becoming efficient, keeping the cost down. AI is not so expensive to implement, I think. It's all about software at the end of the day. There's no real materials that you have to use.
I suppose it's that teaching, that learning piece from a human element. It's just getting over that initial hurdle.
Correct.
Be the early adopter, get that piece out the way. Exactly the same with Excel or something like that, right? At some point, it's a very tricky point for a lot of people.
But once you master
that's it's an invaluable skill.
And then you have to start early. The earlier you start, you have an advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
No matter where. A message for the, all these AI platforms over there, or the ones that are going to become from our end or from my end, is that we need those trainings. So yes, AI can be there, but if I don't understand it, right, and I don't get the training, the data is not clear enough that will end up on my computer or whatever phone these days, how I'm going to, take a decision. Because at the end of the day, the decision should still be with us. So AI will evolve. There's a concept called AGI, Artificial General Intelligence. Here you go. So that's when technically AI will level us as humans, right? So they will be able to undertake any intelligent tasks that we do these days. I mean, I'm curious to hear, what do you think about that and when that will happen? Because I've seen different people out there. Some of them think, that will be in 2 years. Some people think that will never come.
Yeah, do you know, I think it's one of those where if I rewind the clock, and for me it feels like yesterday that I can remember having a conversation saying at some point in the future, you'll be able to make a phone call and see the other person. I remember having those conversations, and then before you know it, it's there. I still remember.
You use Skype first.
Yeah, Skype for sure. You say Skype, I've now got the annoying jingle ringtone that came with it when you had a Skype call coming through, right? So I remember all of those. I remember the early adoption of the Mac PCs with the colourful backs. And now we're running through now with iPads and small laptops and everything else. And I just think it's a trajectory that you can't get away from. We're running at breakneck speed towards it. I think you've got to be really careful with the general intelligence that could come through into it. But I think it's all there to be adopted and embraced, but it's just diving into it, leaning into the fact that that's happening. And I think if people do that, there's nothing to fear. I think it's more of a case of you'll learn it, understand it, and you'll be able to adopt it.
Personally, I think AGI, it's dangerous for us as human beings. I hope that will never happen. Right? I truly believe it won't happen. But you never know. We've all seen the Terminator movies and so on.
For sure.
So on. Basically, that's AGI. Terminator is that. So they've seen it coming. I think it was there for a while. We just did not have access for this kind of stuff. And then again, going back to Skype, think about, they've been opening that type of phone calls, right? Well, where are they today?
Yep.
Nowhere. So think about ChatGPT. They've opened technically this route for us.
Yep.
In 10, 15 years, they might not be there.
No, that's true.
Again, it can happen. You had the Chinese version, DeepSeek, over there that changed a little bit.
Yep.
You know, the way that they're putting AI and how they're utilizing those servers. Yeah. So.
Talk to me about some of the challenges imposed within property management these days. I always like asking this type of question as well, right? Because it's effectively, it gives you an area to look in as the professional within property management and kind of say, I like that about this industry. That's not doing so well. That could be better. What kind of challenges do you think are coming down the track in property management at the moment?
Coming or already there?
There. Let's go there.
Right now is PMs, facilities managers in general, people which are working, they are overloaded. Yeah. That's my personal opinion. They're overloaded. They don't have time to keep up with legislation, which it's extremely important, right? You have so much compliance coming due to the Building Safety Act and so on, you name it. Yep. We had the government responses to the inquiries of the Grenfell the other day as well. I think that's the greatest challenge there. People don't have the time. The organizations don't allow enough training for them to keep up to speed with that. And then if they fell behind, like Skype almost, they might end up in real trouble. So we that's why we take a different approach. You see, that's your work time, that's your learning time. You know, that's your free time. If you want to do whatever you want in your free time, it's up to you. If you want to, do some more training, do that. That's definitely a challenge. Cost of living crisis, as a business, insurance costs going up. I think it's all about money at the end of the day. Yeah, absolutely. And I think from a tenant's expectations, obviously money, cost of living, that plays a heavy part. How would you say that the expectations of tenants within these buildings now, how would you say that's changed? I think it's more challenging these days. One of the reasons being that access to information made residents, not just tenants, leaseholders, residents, it made them more knowledgeable about the industry, about what we do, facility managers, property managers. They have access to all the new legislation. They will expect you to, be compliant with that. Yep. If you're not, then that's a good thing that they can say, hey, you're falling behind, put that up. A challenge, but again, if you adapt to it and you're on top of it and you're proactive enough, I think they will appreciate it, and that could be a good thing for the business, and this is how you can win more business, because they see that you are proactive enough. Yeah. What makes a great property manager, in your opinion? A property manager, actually, it's a mix of everything. Sure. Right. It could be a financial analyst. Obviously, it's about the building itself. It has to do budgets. It needs to be a fortune teller, technically, as well. You have to see in the future. You need to be an energy consultant almost as well when you're working out, and you have to think for the future, not just for today. A lot of people only care about today. Well, if you only care about today, then you shouldn't be that role, because that building is there to stay. That facility is there to stay. Yep. If you're not proofing it for the time that is coming, you are failing as a person. Yeah. What kind of skills do you think are quite important to have to be successful in being a property manager or a facility manager? What type of hard skills do you think? I don't know if it's a skill, but if you have common sense, you can work out anything. Yeah. Right? Common sense, try and be proactive, ask questions. Yeah, I challenge everything. If you tell me anything from your side of the business, I'll ask you questions because I want to know about that, right? And then if I tender that service and then another service providers will come to me, I will use the information that you shared with me, to challenge him. I'm sure he will tell me probably other things as well, and so on. But like that, I can, if I know 10% of what you're doing, great. I just need to know a little bit of everything. So I had instances when, I met lift engineers and they're like, oh, how come you know all about this? I said, well, when the lift is turned off, I jump behind and I see what's happening there.
Yeah.
Or ask permission, obviously. Because,
Yeah.
And things like that. You have to be curious about
Yeah,
it. You have to be calm, definitely. If you're just losing
your way a little bit. Yeah, for sure. Do you think that property management, I ask this question a lot, property management, facility management, do you think is a really clear, obvious career choice for people coming out of school? Or do you think more could be done to expose the area, to have people coming through, a new generation coming through into it? Because most people I speak to say, I fell into it. That is often the very common pattern for people that land in property and estate management.
Thank you. Very good question. And this is something that I want to work in the industry as well. I still have some time over there, so hopefully in 10, 15 years I can help a bit the younger generation, even though I look young. I'm not that young. To try and steer them towards property and facilities management, because it's a great role to have, and you can have an amazing career. Property will be here forever.
Yep.
You say we all need houses, we all need flats, we all need buildings, no matter what. It's not enough out there, that's for sure, right? That's why a lot of people fell into this industry, because they have some other skills. Maybe they come from aviation, customer service, hospitality, like me. Can be a lot of transferable skills into property management, but then there's no real guidance there. If you want to be a facilities manager, what do? You could be a plumber and then you become a facilities manager. Great, because you have some knowledge about that.
Yep.
But the struggle will be, again, and I'm going to legislation. So you need to learn about that before you step into this business, because otherwise some basics, but then you can end up in trouble, or you can put the company at risk because you are not following compliance, for example. One of the things I'm trying to do these days is I've studied here business and management. Perfect for me, I think. And then I've reached out to my previous university, and I offered my time if they want to call me in and have a chat with the students over there. I can give them advices how to get into the business. Yeah. Or maybe some of them, they don't even realize that this type of business is available there. Yeah. Or you can have a profession.
If we were to look at the other side of facility and property management, right, which would be contractors outside of the fence, for example, service partners, what's an important ingredient when you're selecting a service partner? What kind of attributes or things do you look out for?
I'm not the usual property manager over there. You will see that I don't deal as much with business development people unless they come across honest. I can't take a salesperson and accept everything what that salesperson will tell to me, because I'm the type of person that will challenge everything, right? And I want to talk with the engineer. If I have someone on site, I want to see the engineer, and I need him to tell me, yes, it's doable or not. As a business development manager, obviously you have a duty to make sure that whatever the client wants, that will be deliverable, but it might not be. And if you fail it, then I could lose 1, 2, 3 months over there into a project. Well, that will affect my relationship with my client. So that's why trust and honesty is very, very important. I'm there to meet the representatives of the business. I'm happy to meet a director, a business development manager alongside an engineer maybe, so we can work out things. Again, if you tell me, look, we can't undertake this job, it's fine. Great, thank you very much. You save me time. Time, it's everything these days, right? We can work on other projects, but then leave this one for someone that can do it. And
it's having that open, honest dialogue, right?
Yeah. How many of them are doing it out there? Not many. You see, because you accept everything. As a business, you have to accept everything. So,
of course,
you can grow that business. It's more difficult when it's a larger company as well.
Yeah.
Because you can't build that relationship with larger companies as well. But again, like I said, we need them all out there. So we have to work with all the companies, all type of organizations.
Yeah. What does the future look like for BPM, in your opinion? What's coming down the road? What does it all start to look like for you?
So, we're going to MIPIM in Cannes. Me and Chris, the director, Christopher Wade. We're going to meet a lot of people there. There are, I've heard that the mayor of London is attending, Mayor of Rome, Madrid, Athens, and so on. Great conference. Then we have the Resi Awards in May.
Yep.
We are looking to triple the business by the end of the year. And actually, I think it's almost guaranteed.
Yeah.
That's it. We need to bring people that will fulfill the knowledge that we require there.
Yep.
So that's...
Yep. So big growth plans for the business.
Big growth plans.
Over the next couple of years, plans. Yeah.
And I think I'm going to expand my team quite a lot in the next couple of years.
Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
Yeah.
It's exciting stuff for sure, yeah. Couple of last real thoughts for me. Advice, if you were looking back over your career to date, what advice would you perhaps give to people that were thinking about transitioning into property management?
I would say, depends from where you're coming, right? And what type of role you're doing at the moment. But it's definitely a business that people should consider.
Yep.
It's definitely a role that they should consider. I would say, do it. Commercial, residential, it's up to you. I think you need to do a bit of research on your end. It's very important that you appreciate the people that allow some time for your learning and development.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about that. And I can name probably 4 or 5 people out there that helped me a lot in my career,
mm-hmm.
because they had that drive of teaching others.
Yep.
And I think this is what I've learned from them, and this is how I want to reward the industry as well. I want to take the junior people out there, try and direct them,
steer them in the right direction. Yeah. Do you think mentorship plays a big role in the industry?
It helps a lot. There are some good initiatives out there. So I'm a certified member of the Institute of Facilities Management, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Also a member of the International Institute of Risk and Safety Management. They do have this type of mentorships over there. You see, they allow to senior people to meet with the junior ones.
Mm-hmm.
Again, IOSH, you have IOSH over there. That will do this type of things as well.
Yeah. And how do you see facility management and property management changing over the next 5-10 years?
With the help of AI,
it
will definitely become more and more efficient, right? However, efficiency does not necessarily mean cutting costs, let's call it like this. And I'm going back now to all the lighting that we have around here, right? A light bulb before, 5-10 years ago, it maybe had consumption of 100 watts, right, per hour. Now the same type of light bulb will consume 10 watts an hour, right? Has the cost went down for the end user? No, because the energy rates went up and offset that saving, right?
Very true.
So you have to maintain efficiency in order to keep up with what's happening over there.
What advice would you give to a 16-year-old version of yourself? So if you could go back in time now, before the family, before the home life, before everything else, and if you could just sit down and have a moment to kind of say, this is an advice I would impart onto a version of you that was just starting out in the working world, what kind of advice would you give?
You see, each person is different. They do come from different environments and so on. For myself personally, I don't think I will change a thing.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it was just perfect, in a short period of time. I've done a lot. I have 2 degrees over there. I have 2 degrees there. You see, I met people that helped me a lot in life. I'm in the UK for 11 years now. I embraced the UK style, Everything was great.
Yeah.
I can't say anything bad. I wouldn't change a thing.
Okay, perfect. Well, listen, Mihai, thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk to us today. Thank you once again for the cannolis. That is a nice touch. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are new around here, perhaps you haven't tuned into us in the past, be sure to like, comment, share it with your nearest and dearest, and more importantly, look after yourself and one another.